This is a two-pronged story. It's about a miracle that happened to me right at the end of a serious sickness. This is how sick you can get living in a third world country, in the Amazon specifically. I did a service mission there from the time I was 20 until I was 22. And in the first area I was at down there, which was a much nicer area than most of the others, I was sleeping on an old mattress. We didn't bring our own furniture or anything. The houses we were assigned to just had whatever was there. And I'm pretty sure that I got the scabies from sleeping on a mattress that I should have just slept in a hammock. All Brazilian houses have hooks on the walls that you can hang hammocks from because a lot of them like to sleep in a hammock. I did that for the rest of the time I was down there after this experience. I needed to go to a doctor, and they have socialized medicine in Brazil, and so it's free, but you go there, and first of all, the clinic looks like some kind of refugee. It looks like a place that refugees have been severely abused. There's like blood on the wall. Literally, the first time I went to one, there was blood smeared on the wall, and there was vomit on the floor, and you would wait in line for hours where you wouldn't even see a doctor that day. You would go into this room where there was a guy that, I don't know if he was a doctor, but he had a nurse in there with him, and he would stand there and basically stand trial as to why you thought you should see a doctor. So I believe I did that for this very thing, and they were just like, no, you're fine, go out, leave, you know. And so I called my mission president's wife. She was the one that was supposed to make sure that we all stayed well and healthy. And so she called a doctor that was assigned to the missionaries, and she called me back, said, we think you have scabies, escabini, it's called there. And I was like, great, maybe I can get something that will fix that. And she told me the name of the insecticidal lotion that I was supposed to smear on my nuts. And it's pesticide lotion is what it is. And so I went to the pharmacy and I asked them for it. They said, okay, what you're going to do, you're going to rub this on the affected areas for 3 or 4 days. I don't remember, about 3 days. And then 4 days later, you take a 4-day break, and then you do it for 3 more days. So I thought it would be brilliant to just do it all 10 days straight. The reason you have that break in the middle is you wait for any eggs that were laid to hatch, and then you kill them. And you're supposed to boil all your clothes, which I did. So I thought, oh, I'll just do it for 10 days straight. That way I'll be sure these mother effers are dead. And as a result, I got dermatitis on my nutsack. And I kid you not, it turned my balls into something that looked like this. Literally, it was, all the hair fell off, and it was shiny, just like these. It looked like it was laminated in plastic, and it was that red. Back through the tourist field. And so I called my Mr. President's wife again. I was like, listen, my nutsack looks like a giant shiny cherry. And I have to go. You're giving me permission to go. None of this other jerking me around kind of thing. Actually, no, I got a hold of my mission president that time. He's like, okay. You know, like at first he tried to push back, and I was like, no, you are not doing that. I said, this has to be taken care of. I'm paying for this whole mission, so you're going to give me the money to go take care of this. And he said, okay, go see a dermatologist. And I went to a pharmacy that was literally right next to the payphone. Remember payphones? And I walked in there. I was like, give me the name of 3 dermatologists that I can try to get in with today, because I was going to go that day. I needed to go. It had seriously crossed my mind to sleep in a... They had bucket. You would wash your clothes by hand down there. So we had lots of buckets, and you didn't have running water every day. So you would fill buckets up to make sure that you had enough to the next time that you had running water. And sometimes they didn't, but they had these big buckets that were about 12 inches deep and about 2.5 feet across. I had tried filling one up with cool water and just sitting in it and leaning my head back against a pillow so I could sleep with my nuts soaked in cool water. I wasn't able to fall asleep that way because it didn't help as much as it should have. So anyway, got the names of 3 dermatology clinics. I called the first one. They're like, yeah, no way you're getting in today. So I called the second one. I gave them my name. They said, yeah, come down. We'll see you tonight. The reason I give you the time is it wasn't until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon that any of us knew that I was going to that specific dermatology clinic. We got on the bus because, of course, we didn't have a car or anything. Picked up like 3 different buses to get there. And we went into this clinic and it was packed. I mean, people were sitting on the floor. And I wasn't there more than, I gave him my name in that. I wasn't there more than 15, 20 minutes when, boom, all the power in that part of the city went out. It was, I mean, pitch black. They started lighting candles and stuff like that. And shortly after the power went out, they came down and they said, the Clap, that's my pseudonym here. The Clap, come on back. And I went up this little narrow staircase, and they had in the room the doctor. She had a little fluorescent battery powered lamp, which is shocking to me that back in 1998 they had batteries that could power us a fluorescent lamp. So she's like, okay, well, what's going on? And I told her what had been going on, and she was like, okay, let me see. And I dropped my pants, and she got down there, and I am telling you, she nearly cried. I remember exactly. She was like, "Tu estás mal. Things queimado sua bolsa," which means you're very bad. You've burnt your bag. And, but she said, we could fix it. And after she wrote me the prescriptions, one of which was an injection, which they don't give you the injection at the doctor's office. You go home, you buy it from the pharmacy, and you do it yourself or have a friend do it, which my friend that did it only stuck the needle in about that far, and I had just an enormous knot under my skin. Anyway, back to the doctor's office. She asked me, she said, Clap, what made you decide to go see an oncologist this morning? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have cancer that I know of. And she's like, well, here's the reason I'm asking. About 10 or 11 o'clock this morning, so 4, 5, 6 hours before I even knew that I was going to this clinic, said about 10 o'clock this morning, an oncologist from Beilang called me and said, there's a young man that's going to come into your clinic tonight. You absolutely must see him tonight. His name is, and he gave her my name, and she showed me the paper where she had written my name. And she said, if he hadn't called me and said that, there's no way we would have seen you tonight. They called it the Mission of Miracles where it was. That's what we all called it. And that was mine. So, I mean, yeah, that's it.